Welcome back, you guys. Here's part 2 of ranking every Mets uniform in franchise history. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the rankings. Next up, we have the gray uniforms with the black drop shadow. The Mets, of course, incorporated the black and the blue brim cap, and it really worked well with these uniforms. I mean, they look tremendous on the road. Obviously, the black was a big thing in the 90s and the early 2000s for sports teams, and the Mets were one of the best at incorporating it into their current color scheme. Overall, I think the black drop shadow on the uniform looks tremendous. I think the black and blue helmet and the black and blue cap, as well as black socks, really worked well for the team, and I really like these uniforms. They're not the traditional blue and orange though, and because of that, I'm gonna have to drop them to the B tier on my list. Now this one I know is going to get some people riled up. The black uniforms. The Mets wore the black uniforms for all of the 2000s, and they are one of the most highly debated topics among all of Mets fans. You have one side of the aisle that absolutely loves the black jerseys. They want them back. Even Pete Alonso and some of the current Mets are asking for the jerseys to come back. Then you have the other side that says they hate these jerseys and they never want to see them again, that black is not in the Mets color scheme. Personally, for me, I am right in the middle of those two groups. They look very sharp. I'm a big fan of the way they make the blue and the orange pop, and I definitely owned a couple of these when I was a kid. Now, there were two different versions of the black uniform. One was an alternate home and one was an alternate away uniform. The alternate home uniform, of course, features the Mets classic script in blue, orange, and white font. Then, of course, you have the road uniform that features the New York font that you find on the classic away jersey for the Mets. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I prefer the away script uniforms more than I do the home black. If the Mets were going to bring back these black jerseys, I would only advocate that they bring back the New York font one. I think black is more of an away color. I think that New York font looks fierce and really striking, and so for me personally, if they were going to do either of them, I would say just go with the New York road. So I'm going to put each of these jerseys on their own tier. I'm going to put the Mets home black jersey on the B tier, and I'm going to put the black New York road jerseys on the A tier. In 2010, the Mets unveiled new cream jerseys for their home pinstripe uniforms. The Mets wore these jerseys from 2010 to 2014, and for the most part, they were still wearing them when they had the black drop shadow on the lettering. For me, I really associate some very bad memories of this team with these uniforms. Honestly, I took big issue with these jerseys when they came out. The Mets were just coming off the Bernie Madoff scheme. It seemed like they were pretty desperate for money and just trying to do anything they could to grab a couple extra bucks, and that's kind of what it yelled to me at the time, and I still believe that. Further, I mean, it just doesn't work. The cream colored jersey was kind of trying to be a nod to old and historical kind of feel of the team, but they kept the black drop shadow on the lettering and the name, and it just didn't really work with the cream uniform. I know that the San Francisco Giants pulled that off, but honestly, they've been doing it for years. It's kind of like a historical jersey, similar to the Dodgers with their underline. Just didn't work for the Mets. I just really was not a fan of these jerseys at all. For me, the cream colored jerseys are going in the C tier. In 2013, the Mets unveiled new Military Monday jerseys, which were camouflage. The uniforms are largely the same as what you would see on their traditional home uniform, the same Mets script in blue and orange lettering, just with the camouflage jersey. I know some people were a big fan of these uniforms, but I was not one of them. Now, look, I know it's for a great cause. The Mets obviously were trying to honor our troops, some of the bravest people in the world, and I totally respect that. Look, there are some teams that can pull this off. The San Diego Padres, for example, they should be the ones that do it. They have the naval base out there. Obviously, they have tons of troops and Marines in that general area, and you know what? Their colors aren't far off either. But for the Mets, the blue and the orange just did not look good. I really disliked it, especially when they wore the pinstripe pants with it. It was just not a good look. Personally, I never want to see these uniforms again. This is an easy one for me. They are going in the D tier. In 2014, the Mets unveiled new blue home and road uniforms. The home uniform, of course, featured the very familiar Mets script in orange and white outline. The road blue alternate is almost exactly the same as the home blue alternate, including the orange piping. The difference is that the road uniform features the New York font found on their typical road jerseys. However, the lettering is in gray, which some fans are not too crazy about. Me, personally, I think both of these uniforms look great. Honestly, I know not everyone is crazy about the gray lettering on the road alternate, but I mean, it works for me. I really like it. I think it pops. Maybe it's just Amed Rosario. He obviously looks pretty swaggy here. We saw them wear them a lot throughout their 2015 playoff run, and so they are obviously a part of Mets history now. Honestly, I like both of these. I think they both look really good. I really appreciate the blue and the orange piping, and I think the gray on the road jerseys looks really good. So I'm going to go ahead and put both of these on the A tier. Now I'm going to throw in a bonus one, and these are the 2002 spring training jerseys. These jerseys, of course, were the typical Mets script in the front, except they were in orange orange with blue armpits and a black hat. The patch on this side of the sleeve is also featured in black. Honestly, nothing about this uniform works for me. I mean, they got a black helmet, an orange uniform, blue armpits, the logo is black. I really don't know what to make of it other than just say it does not work at all. It also brings back some bad memories. I mean, obviously one of the better players of our history, Mike Piazza, wore them, but at the same time you have guys like Roger Cedeno, Kaz Matsui. Overall, these jerseys are really not doing it for me, and it's pretty clear why they got rid of them so quickly. I think they were only featured for 1 or maybe 2 spring trainings, and then they were gone. Joining the camouflage Mercury Mets and the underlined Mets jersey, the orange jerseys are going on the D tier. And of course, we have today's current uniforms. You have the Mets script in blue and orange with blue pinstripes, and then you have the road uniforms with the New York font. They've of course added the numbers to the front, last names to the back, but for the most part, these look just like the uniforms that they wore from 1962 till 1969. Personally, I'm a huge fan of these uniforms. I think they are some of the best in baseball. They're pretty classy looking. I love the blue and orange color scheme. Honestly, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I think these are great uniforms, and they are definitely going on the S tier of my list. Overall, one of the best things I think about the Mets is that they've never changed their logo. They've never changed their colors from blue and orange. I think that's one of the cheesiest, worst things to see happen with sports teams is when they start changing their colors or changing their logo every 5 or 10 years. And I'm really happy that the Mets have never done that. They nailed it with their logo. They nailed it with their colors. And for the most part, their uniforms have always been pretty good and pretty consistent. And I'm very pleased with where the current uniforms stand today. What do you guys think? Do you agree with my tier list? What are your opinions on all these uniforms? Also, big question. Do you want the black uniforms back? Yes or no? If you want to make this tier yourself, I'm going to put the link in the bio, so be sure to check that out as well. Also, be sure to comment and let me know which ones you think are the best in the Mets history and which ones you want to see brought back. I'm your host, Anthony Metro. Let's go Mets.